Here's my name, student ID, and course ID. My name is Zachary Bush. The date is June 11th, 2023, and I'm going over methyl red testing, Vogues Proskauer testing, and Catalase testing. To start off, I want to say that the testing didn't exactly go as planned. I got wrong test results, and I'm not sure why. I followed the instructions. I kept things sanitary, but I still got the wrong test results. And I'm not sure how to prevent it next time because I don't know what caused it this time. Um, Looking back, there's nothing that really stands out to me as something that could possibly be the starting point of like, oh, this is where maybe something started to go wrong. Everything seemed to go according to plan until it didn't really. Um, yeah, I don't have much more I can really say on that matter. So let me jump into the results of the test. I'm using my phone to pull up the results. Alright, so here is methyl red in E. coli. So this is a positive test, which is in line with E. coli and methyl red. E. coli is supposed to test positive for methyl red because it uses mixed acid fermentation, and methyl red confirms that a bacteria uses mixed acid fermentation. However, SE also tested positive, which is not supposed to happen. It cannot use mixed acid fermentation and should be a yellow broth colored liquid. So I'm not sure why this occurred. I don't know what I could do to really change the result that I had. Um, it's not like I could go back and do another 48 hours of testing, but yeah, there's not really much I can say on that. The only thing I can really say is that the methyl red worked right for one of the two samples. The other one it didn't quite work right on. I don't know why. The interesting thing is that the Vogues Proskauer test worked right for SE, did not work right for E. coli. So here is E. coli, Vogues Proskauer, a negative test. Nothing there, which is not correct. E. coli should test positive for Vogues Proskauer, and it didn't. Let me pull up another picture again real fast. Let's see. Right here. So if you can see it, there's little brown dots. Yeah, you can see it. But they don't look like much more than that through the camera. They were little red dots on the surface of the sample. There and along the glass, there was a red ring forming. I tried letting the sample sit for longer than recommended, and nothing was really changing. After a while, I just kind of accepted the fact that this test result was incorrect, and there wasn't much I could do to change that. I tried letting it sit, giving it time to incubate, even though it didn't really need time to incubate. It's just a simple drop, and maybe 60 seconds and we're good. But yeah, that one's incorrect. Moving on to, wrong picture, BSE. Again, negative, which is correct. That's how it's supposed to go. SE is supposed to test negative. For Catalase, E. coli, positive test. That's what I like to see. That is in line with everything we know about E. coli. It can produce Catalase, as can, wrong picture, as can SE. So both tested positive for Catalase, which is good. That means that that test went according to plan. Both test positive for Catalase based on what we know about the two bacteria. But yeah, other than that, other than the Catalase test, everything else had some hiccups in it. The purpose of the methyl red and Vogues Proskauer is methyl red is to determine whether a bacteria can use mixed acid fermentation. and the Vogues Proskauer is kind of used to um, really divide the bacteria into different classes or families, if which is what they're called, families. And both are performed together because it's much easier to classify a bacteria based on two tests than one. And yeah, so the uh, I guess if you want to think about it, you could say you're taking a population of or a sample of 100. You use a methyl red test, 50 test positive. You use Vogue's Proskauer test, and 25 of the methyl red positive samples also test positive for Vogue's Proskauer. You have a much better idea of what that bacteria is or what family it's in. For catalase testing, um, most bacteria are uh, they can be harmed really badly, killed by oxygen. It's toxic to them. Catalase is an enzyme that prevents oxygen from doing damage to it. Um, so that helps us again understand what kind of bacteria it is, what kind of really defenses it has. Because if a bacteria is resistant to oxygen, that right there puts in okay, this is a very it's I wouldn't say uncommon, but it's in the minority of bacteria. Most bacteria do not produce catalysts. So right there we get a lot of information on the bacteria. For real world application of all these, I would say that the methyl red and Vogue's Proskauer very very useful for IDing, not IDing, but quickly getting an idea of what you're working with. If I was given a slide, if or a sample, and I was said, all right, you get two tests, and you know try and figure out what you can. If I used methyl red and Vogue's Proskauer, I could quickly figure out that a sample does or does not use mixed acid fermentation, and in the Vogue's Proskauer also helps it classify it a little more. And for catalysts, I can use that test to identify whether the bacteria is resistant to the effects of oxygen. And that will really help in narrowing the options down of what a bacteria is. Excuse me. So all in all, the experiments didn't go according to plan per se, but there's not much else I can do to change that now. And yeah, I'm hoping that this video was thorough enough and good enough for a good grade on it. So thank you and have a great day.